What's going on, everyone? I hope you're well. I can't believe it. 12 seasons of Apex Legends. We are in the 12th season, and it is time for an updated best settings for this season. A ton of you have said that these settings have helped you out a lot in the previous seasons, and I have made a few tweaks from the last season, and I still think these settings will help you out quite a bit, but as always, it's all personal preference, and your settings really need to be catered to you and your play style, but if you want a starting point, I got you covered. I am a controller warrior, but the gameplay settings will more or less be the same, and they are not really input dependent. Let us waste no time, and let's just dive right into it. I'm going to try to get you these settings as fast as I can, so I can get you on your way playing a lot more of Season 12. First off, we are going to have the gameplay tab. We're going to have interact prompt style. I just leave this as default. If you want to compact, basically, this is just having a little bit less information when you go to pick something up. I like having the information on. I like to look at the symbol and kind of tells me what it is. From this, we have the button hints. I just leave these on. If you turn them off, you don't have any hints around on the bottom of your screen, but I like to have it on. Crosshair damage feedback, I leave this as off. This is a pretty big one for me, actually. Basically, if you have this off and you shoot something, you don't have any crosshairs for the damage feedback. If you put it as X, you'll have a little bit of an X around the target. I do not really find it necessary just because I already have the damage numbers when I'm hitting them, and that gives me the feedback. If you are a big Caustic or a Watson player, you may want to have this on so you can tell when someone is in your gas or crossing your fence. But even then, you're still going to get an audio indication that this is happening. So either way, it's up to you. I like to have it off. For damage numbers, I just leave stacking. I don't really think I need floating, and I definitely don't really need both. It's just more on-screen clutter, so I just leave it as stacking. And you can see here, it just stacks the number of total damage that you're doing. Ping opacity, I leave this as faded, so it's not interfering with anything. Obituaries, I leave this on. This is the kill feed. Minimap rotation, this will depend on you, but I like to have it off. I like to have the north on the minimap always be the top of my screen. I don't like it rotating around. It's obviously all your preference. Weapon auto cycle on empty. I actually find this kind of to be a big one. When I run out of ammo, I do not want the game to switch the weapon for me. I want to be manually transferring my weapon. Sometimes I find the game will automatically swap my weapon, and then I'll hit that button to swap it again, and I just don't want this. Auto sprint, I leave this as off. If you want to save your left stick on your controller so you do not damage it, you could turn this as on so you're not damaging your left stick as much. I've just always left it off, and I'm going to leave it that way for now. Double tap to sprint, I just leave this as off. Jetpack control, this is really for Valkyrie. I leave this as hold. It's way more natural if you leave it as hold. Incoming damage feedback, I just leave this as 3D. One of the biggest settings for the gameplay tab is going to be taking damage closes death box or crafting menu. Absolutely, you want to have this as off. If you're going into armor swap and you get hit, you're going to get knocked out. If you have this on, leave it as off. It'll help you out a ton when you are looting and trying to really get those armor swaps. Next, we got a hop-up, pop-up. I just leave this as on. Basically, when you pick up a hop-up, it just tells you what it is in the bottom right-hand corner. You don't really need to have this if you know what they all are, but I just like to have it because I've always had it on. From this, we have streamer mode. I don't really care if anyone knows that I am in their game. I'm not big enough of a streamer to get grief right now, so I leave this as off. And then we got anonymous mode, which is one step farther. Everyone in the game will be anonymous. I don't really find this necessary as well, so I just leave this as disabled. Usage sharing, this is if you want to give your data to EA or not. Don't care. I have it as enabled. If you don't want it, have it disabled. Performance display, this just tells you what is going on screen in the upper right hand corner. It'll tell you your frame rate, your ping, and all that good stuff. I don't find it necessary for me. I don't like to have extra clutter on my screen, so I like to leave it as off. Club invites, I just have this as disabled. I don't really want to join any clubs. From this, we are going to have reticle colors. This is something they added in the middle of Season 11, or it might have been the start of Season 11. Can't quite remember. But either way, I use a green right now. I find this to be very vibrant, very bright. It's easy to see people in pretty much all environments. When I do play a little bit more in Olympus here, I may switch it up a little bit. But if you are wondering what the colors are, it is 16, 255, 16. Moving on, colorblind mode. I do not find any need to have any different type of colorblind mode, but if you want to try one, I actually used to really like Tritanopia. It makes everything a little bit lighter on the eyes. I don't really find it necessary anymore, and I just leave this as off. Subtitles I have off. I don't like to have stuff popping up on my screen, so subtitle size does not matter for me. Enable accessible chat features. I have this as off, and then convert incoming voice to chat text. I also have this as off. From this, we're going to the controller tab. Button layout, I do button puncher. There's a couple things about this that you should know. If you are just starting off the game and you want to have the best movement you can and you do not have paddles, evolved will be the way to go. Evolve basically makes it so you never have to move your thumbs off of the sticks. You can jump and crouch without having to move your thumbs, which is absolutely great. You have full movement. For me and what I use button puncher. This basically just swaps crouch and melee, so I do not accidentally melee by clicking in the right stick. I used to do this a lot. I get into a fight, it tenses up a little bit, and I'm accidentally punching. By doing button puncher, it just swaps it. And I have paddles for crouch and jump on the back, so I do not have any worry, and I do not need to use Evolved. But Evolved would be my recommended one if you are looking for a good controller scheme that is pretty much just, you're going to have full movement. You can also go into customize and change everything around and mess around with it. I don't find it necessary, but I use button puncher if you are looking for my personal recommendation. Next, we got stick layout. I just use default, interact, reload. I have both tap to use and tap to reload. I just want to have the quickest way to reload and the quickest way to kind of use objects and pick stuff up. So I just do tap to use and reload. Crouch button, I do hold. This is basically for bunny hopping. Takes a little bit getting used to from doing toggle, but I find hold just to be way more advantageous, and I want to have the best movement I can. And I find that bunny hopping on hold is the best way for me, and it might work for you as well. Aim button, I do hold, pretty self-explanatory. Survival slot, I leave this as on. Trigger dead zones, I just leave this as default. And then menu cursor speed, this is another one a lot of people sleep on. You do not want to have this too slow. You do not want to have it too high, but you do want it to have it probably somewhere in the middle, maybe a little bit past the middle. If this is too slow, you're just not going to be able to loot efficiently. And if it's too fast, you're going to be misclicking a lot. So you want to have it as high as you can within reason to control it, I would say. Movement aiming is all controlled by my ALC settings, so we'll get to this in a minute. Movement dead zone, you want to leave this as small. If you got stick drift, you could set it as large. Inverted look, I have off. I don't want inverted. And then vibration for me, I've always had it off in my shooter games. I just find it a little bit easier on the hands. It also makes your controllers last a little bit longer if you have it off. Moving from this, we got my advanced look controls. These have been an absolute beamer, a lifesaver for me. I've been using these for a few seasons now. Dead zone 8%, outer threshold 1%, and response curve 7. If you are having some stick drift, you could move the 8% up a little bit, but honestly, I found 8% to be pretty good to the point where I'm not having any stick drift. Per optic settings, I'm basically starting at 0.9 for the 1 times, and I'm going like 1.1, 1.2, 1.4, kind of going up by 0.2 all the way up to 2.0 at the 10 times. Pretty self-explanatory. I'm honestly probably going to swap around the 6 to 8 and 10 a little bit. I might want to increase them. I feel like it's a little bit too slow, but this has worked out really well for me. And honestly, I'm not using the 6 times, 8 times, or 10 times really that much. From this, we got the main kind of ALC settings, what you all are looking for. We got yaw speed 360, pitch speed 270. And then I have all these set as 0. These are basically just extra ramp ups and stuff. I want my movement to be as consistent as I can. So whenever I'm moving left and whenever I'm moving right, this is always going to be the same. If you have these, it could kind of like ramp up, and I just don't really want that. These will help you move faster. If you want a 180 a little bit quicker, you could up these a little bit. But for me, I find it not really necessary. Then we got ADS for all of them. It's basically the same thing as above, but now you're looking down sights. I do 120 and 100. If you find it's a little bit too slow, you could bump these a little bit. And honestly, I don't recommend this at all for these. I recommend leaving them 0. If you do have these as a little bit higher, you're not really going to be able to beam people quite as easily, in my opinion. So these give a really low amount of recoil. I find it really, really great. It's been working out a long time for me. Target compensation, you want this on. Melee target compensation, you want this on. And then target compensation style, this is default. And you have the PC option if you want lower aim assist on PC. This may go away at the start of Season 12. This video is going out 1 day before Season 12. I'll let you know in the comments down below if this does change. From this, though, we just got the video tabs. Honestly, nothing too big here. I just do 104 field of view ability scaling. I leave this as disabled. Then sprint view shake, you'd absolutely want to have this minimal. Field of view is pretty massive one. You know, if you got 70, you're way punched in. You can't see anything around you. The target is a little bigger, which is nice, but I would much rather have the increased information from having like a 104 or 110 field of view, so I can just see a lot more around me. And then audio, this is going to be based on your settings, but honestly, I do 70% total master volume. Honestly, I have the music pretty low, and I have the dialogue volume a little bit lower because I want to have all the sound effects. I don't want like dialogue volume to interfere with how I'm playing. And then disable voice chat, I have it as off so I can hear my teammates in game, and then convert incoming voice to chat text, I also have off. And that is my settings, guys. I try to go through it more or less as detailed as I could and as quick as possible to get you that information. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button. If you have any settings questions, please drop a comment down below. I would love to help you out. And join the community Discord. We have 5,000 members in there. There's always people looking to party up. There's always people willing to chat. And I'm pretty active in there as well, and I would love to say hello to you. I appreciate the support in the video, guys. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for a lot more on the way for Season 12, and also check out that second channel, guys. Till next time, happy gaming, legends.